Hey Track Gang, what's going on in this week's episode of the Boeville in Newtown? Well, it's right over here. Stand by and we'll get into what's happening this week. Alright folks, well, I think this is vlog 23 or episode 23 for 2023, or 20, actually it is episode 24 for 2023. It happens to be June the 24th, and well, we've got what I'm now aptly naming the DB Tech Express headed southbound. This here was that Locomotive, the sea liner that I'd gotten from Dave over at DB Tech, and of course it's going to uncouple. Oh well. Of course, everything works until you've got the camera rolling. Never fails. Anyway, yes, Dave, the Locomotive does run quite well. Apparently, though, I may have to do a little bit of work on the coupler. So, we've got something else we're going to get into. Okay, Track Gang. The other day, Mr. Ron over at Classic Model Trains was working on something that was kind of like right up my alley. Sorry, I was trying to clean things up here a little bit because I just got finished fixing the DB Tech Express. Found out that the issue with that, and that's a really interesting little rig there. There's a spring, an actual metal spring that belongs in the coupler box on the Locomotive. Now, that one there is a little bit unique in the fact that it's a newer style, believe it or not, of AHM where the rear truck and the front truck both pick up power. I actually made that conversion on a couple of other AHM locomotives that I had. It's not an easy thing to do. This one here came from the factory that way. The problem with it is they still went ahead and put a nut and bolt through the coupler box on that powered truck. The only way that you can actually physically put that back together is to drop the motor out of the chassis. I should have shown it. If this video doesn't run too long, I might bring it back over here and at least take off the shell and show you what I'm talking about. But anyway, two things I want to talk about here real quick, and that is, and we're actually over here at the kitchen table, aka the workbench. I find it a lot easier to work out here than back at my actual bench. What we have is a Marx F3. As you can see, Ron, this one here is a little dirtier than yours. I'm not bothering to clean these up because, well, to be honest, dust is natural weathering. And I don't weather anything, so leaving it in its natural patina at this point, it works for me. Anyway, I did not break this locomotive down, but it is a meat grinder, just like he talked about, and I will open this one back up. And these are a freaking pain because there's 3 tabs, as he mentioned in his video, that you have to pretty much get loose on both sides. Why Marx ever decided to do this way, I have no idea, and that really didn't work out well there. Alright, there we go. Anyway, so what you've got back here is what I call the meat grinder. You've got a nylon gear up top that feeds a gear underneath that feeds the rear truck, and then it goes via a jack shaft, which is what he was missing, to the forward truck, and that one there. So this is a 4-wheel pickup, 8-wheel drive. In theory, this thing should frickin' pull forever in a freaking day. I've had it on the layout just to test it after I kind of cleaned it up a little bit. One of the things that's always concerned me about these locomotives, not so much these gears inside the trucks, but this open gear right here, you cannot lubricate that very heavy or at all because of the fact that it's an open gear. And if you look at it, guess where it's sitting? It's sitting right over top the rails, which means that it's going to just spew lubrication all over the place. So you have to be either do it very lightly or don't bother. So I'm going to set that aside for the moment because the reason why we're actually over here is I decided, well, gee, I've got that one running. Let's take a look at another artifact. That would be this dude. Now, I have no idea where I got this. This is a pen line. It is extremely heavy. Again, it's 4-wheel pickup, 8-wheel drive. And in fact, these wheels, these drive wheels they're rubber band. They've got traction tires. And unfortunately, well, one of them is completely gone, and the other three, or two of them are completely gone, and the other two, yeah, well, they're dry rotted. Gee, after 60 some odd years or more, I can't imagine why they would be dry rotted. I decided I was going to dig into this thing, and once I opened it up the other night, I'm like, you know what, I've got to make a video of this because Ron's even going to get a chuckle out of this. So I take the shell off. Somebody has been in here. I don't know why I would think that. Beside the fact that they got a wire nut there and they put electrical tape around the light bulb. I have no idea why I would think that somebody had been into this thing. The other thing that was interesting was this coupler, and I don't know how well that's going to show up on camera, but yeah, that's not right either. Well, not to mention the fact that it's broke. So we're going to dig into this dude a little bit and see exactly what the heck is going on with this thing. Believe it or not, but it does run. It may not look like much, but it runs. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tackle the coupler. Why not? Why not? Let's go ahead and tackle this mess back here that somebody created. I would imagine, more than likely, this was a rivet at one point and the coupler broke, so they went ahead and just drilled it out and then decided, well, I'll just put a piece of metal over top of it and we'll just go ahead and use that as the coupler box. That's kind of what my thoughts are. What the heck is going on here? Is it loose? Is it loose? Is it loose? No, it's not. No. Okay. All right, there's the coupler. I'll have to go back to my workbench and see if I get another one of those style horn hooks floating around. What the heck? Oh, you gotta be kidding me. There's no way that was factory. I think somebody literally jammed a piece of metal on here to hold that coupler in place. And what they did, I see what they did. Oh my goodness. Really? What they did. Wow. Okay. I've seen some things in my day. This one here, Ron would definitely get a tickle out of this one. They put this massive screw in the back because of the fact that they took out the original mount and they literally stuffed a metal bar in there, and they but basically fabricated a piece of metal to hold the coupler because I guess the coupler box broke. I have no idea. I don't have another pen line F3 floating around here. No, this is an F7. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't have another one of these floating around here to know. But that's quality. I'll have to show that one to Harrison too. I'm sure he'd get a kick out of that. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, I've seen some stuff now. That's an interesting rig. I act that I'll have to I'll give that one an A plus. I it may not look like much, but it certainly functions. I was wondering why that big screw was stuffed in there like that. Now I know why. Oh my goodness. The nice thing of it is everything else seems to line up perfectly, so it's not hurting anything. It's just not right. Oh my goodness. Okay, well now we know what the issue is with the coupler. I got to get in here and take a look at these traction tires. This ought to be an exercise in futility, right? I'm not even sure if you guys can see this. I can't do this really left-handed, but we'll try it. I'm not quite ambidextrous. And there's the big word of the day. I didn't do too bad left-handed. Well, the interesting thing is Penline did something really interesting. You talk about belt and suspenders. They put these screws in here to hold the base plate on, but the base plate also has little hooks that hook onto the truck. I guess they figured if those little hooks broke, at least you'd have some way of reassembling the truck cover and having it hold. Alright, so we need to pop these four somehow. Yeah, right. Right, said Fred. Here we go. That was tougher than what I thought it was going to be. Tougher than what it needed to be as far as I'm concerned. And the question is can we get the front off without having to take the, oh yeah, I think we got this. Hey, now we're cooking with, oh my goodness. What the heck did we do here? This is just a little nasty in here. Just a little. I'm not bothering putting that on the egg crate here. I'll just put that on the table. Okay, so that's the pickup. I think it's time for a little bit of odorless mineral spirits here, folks, because that's just flat nasty. Ugh. All right, well, let me go ahead and get cleaning on that, and then we'll put some new traction tires on this bad boy and see what we get. We'll be back. Okay, so I had a fight with this a little bit. I actually did have to take that rig apart a little bit in order to get down here and clean these gears out, because these gears were a mess. These worm gears, and this is a very interesting setup, to be perfectly honest. And of course I'm using a paper towel only because of the fact that I really didn't want to get in here with the rag is just too heavy. What they did, and of course much to the chagrin of I'm sure most of us, there was no thrust washers in here, or at least it didn't appear to be any. But I had, and there still is, hair wrapped around the shaft over here, and of course you don't want to take this gear out of here. To be perfectly honest, that's probably not a good idea. So now this is really, I got this cleaned up pretty good. This just snap fits back into the the base here, I'm actually going to wipe that out real good, which is, I've already cleaned up the piece of copper or the piece of brass, as it were. That was down. That's supposed to be there for pickup. That looks pretty good now. I don't see any other garbage in here. So we're gonna put the gear back in here. In actuality, before I get that far, before I lose that thrust or that bearing on the end, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put a drop of oil oh come on, put that on that, move that back in place and just kind of, oh yeah, that's moving pretty good there. I like that. A little bit on that end. Even though you can get to this one, probably still not a bad idea to put a little bit on there before we go ahead and put this thing back into the truck. Now, like I said, from what I can tell, these just kind of snap back in here. Just kind of slide back in there, as it were. Alright, that ain't looking too shabby. And that feels pretty smooth too for what it is, and of course it's kind of dragging on the motor at the moment, but that's okay. And I've gone ahead and loosened up the brushes inadvertently. Not that that'll be a problem, because they're going to need to be that commutator needs to be cleaned up anyway. But that's looking pretty good. Now let's go ahead and put the brass plate back in place, and then let's take a look at these wheels real quick. Clean the gears out. Make sure that we don't have any foreign material. No, there's nothing floating around this thing. Only freaking 60 years worth of garbage. Yeah, I almost said something else. Hey, there is a disclaimer at the beginning of this video. Actually, what I'm going to do here, no, I'm not using those. Yeah, another little tip from Ron there, and using the Q-tips to get into these tight spots to clean things up a little bit. Oh yeah, no, that didn't need to be cleaned. Good night. Of course, the biggest thing is watching yourself around the gears so that you don't leave fuzzies behind. Fuzzies are not good. Alright, that looks pretty good now. Alright, that's the one wheel. And what the heck did I just do with my, I'll use the other end of it. I've only gone through three Q-tips now. I've got three more. No, those will be for the front truck. Once we get there. I should have done it before and after on this daggone thing. It's amazing that the darn thing even ran. The garbage wrapped around the axle here. Alright, I think we're back in business. I'm gonna go ahead and put this thing back together, and I'll take apart the front truck, and we'll see what we got. Well, believe it or not, but, and I know it sounds like crap at the moment, but that's because the only way I could get this thing to do this was to put it on a board up off the, because I can't hold it, and because like I said, it's 8-wheel drive, 4-wheel pickup. So, and I figured out what they did here. They actually replaced the light bulb, and what they did is they soldered it straight to. So that's the reason why they've got it rigged up like that. I'm not going to change it. I'm going to leave it alone. I think what we are going to do though is we're going to take these two monstrosities over to the layout and see what we've actually got. All right, Track Gang. I wish I had something to show you. But to be perfectly honest, this week completely got away from me. I did get both locomotives somewhat running. I've got to go back and work on the traction tires on the pen line unit. Somehow or other, I don't have them on there quite right, and the locomotive is wobbling down the tracks. And as far as the Marks unit, though, I believe that one there was running fairly well the other night. But like I said, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to deal with it or go digging back into them. So it'll have to wait till next episode. So this will be a 2-episode thing for those two locomotives. Not to mention the fact that I'll also show how I'm going to work on that one B&O. And as you all saw from Sidetrack Sunday, I had an issue with my FP45 and one of my FP7s. So I will probably be bringing those over here to the table. This coming week is 4th of July, so you all know what's coming next week. I will have my special video that I do every year with the 76 stuff. The other thing is, 2 things, really. Just to reiterate one more time, or as I'm going to be going forward, I will reiterate every week. The Timonium train show in October, which is the 14th and 15th. I will not be able to do the 15th because my daughter's company, or the place that I shouldn't say company, the place that she works for, which is a hospice, retirement home, senior living type of deal. She is an events coordinator, an assistant events coordinator for them. They have their annual crab feast on the 15th of October, so I will be attending that. As I stated on Sidetrack Sunday, if you are planning to come up for the Timonium train show, or come in for the Timonium train show in October, shameless plug here, if you would like to do the crab feast, I will have a link in the description below. You can take a look at it. You don't have to. I'm just putting it out there. But be aware, if you are planning on attending the Sunday show, that the parking lot over there is going to get a little bit tight, because there's a lot going to be going on, because they're expecting, according to what my daughter told me last night, they're expecting at least 1,000 people for that crab feast. So that's number one, or one part of that. The other thing is if you do decide that you would like to become or be a part of that on that Sunday, let me know so that I can let her know that you've signed up. Because one of the things that they can do is they can group everybody together. One, and she is going to look into the possibilities of grouping the railroad folks close to where I'm going to be, so with my family. So just keep that in mind. We'll have everybody kind of be together. So that's shameless plug number 1. Shameless plug number 2. As you all are aware, YouTube has changed some things around. You no longer have to hit 1,000 subscribers and 400 or 4,000 watch hours or whatever the heck it is, to have super chats, super stickers, and I think the join button. As of today, and it's the 29th of June, actually it'll be the 30th of June when this comes out, so the 30th of June, I'm at 588 subscribers, so I hit that number. I put up 3 videos a month at least, so I've hit that mark. The mark that I'm short on is the watch hours. As of this afternoon, I think I was still at like 2160. So that's 2,160 hours. I need 3,000. So it's going to probably still be a bit, but any help I will take. I will appreciate it as usual. So you all know the deal. Wait for the high ball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch y'all next time. Be safe. God bless. Happy 4th of July. Early. We'll see you.